Happy Thanksgiving, all of my curated living with Shayla family. I just wanted to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I hope you are enjoying your day, your time with your family and friends. And let me know what things you guys are doing, what you're preparing for Thanksgiving, or what you guys have already prepared. So drop it in the comments. Just dropping in to say hello and wish everyone well on this special holiday. And just enjoy your family and friends, and I will see you soon. So I'm going to be doing my mac and cheese today, which I am fully in the swing of all things Thanksgiving prep at this point. So I wanted to drop in as I'm getting started on making the mac and cheese. Now, I have already cooked my pasta here. Actually, I stepped away to do some other things, and I actually ended up having to kind of heat my pasta again in the microwave, unfortunately, a little bit, but that's not really going to bother the pasta too much. And so what I am going to do now is, one thing that I always start by doing is seasoning my pasta a bit. So definitely going to be adding in now some Himalayan salt, Himalayan pink salt, because you do want your pasta after you've cooked it to have a little bit of a flavor and taste once you add in your other ingredients. So, and then I just continue to just kind of taste things as I make them kind of along the way, so that I can make sure things aren't under seasoned or over seasoned. So that's usually my strategy for that. And then I'm also going to add in just a little bit of onion powder, not too much. I don't want the mac and cheese to take on an onion taste necessarily, but I'm just going to add a little bit of that in there, just more so for added flavor, just a little. And then a little bit of garlic powder. Again, not too much, because I don't really want the onion or garlic taste to overtake my mac and cheese. I still want to kind of keep it pretty simple and clean tasting. So just going to add that for a little flavor. Now, I'm also going to add some black pepper to this. I also have a little bit of my Miss Dash. I usually like to add just a little bit of that too. I don't want any of this to take on too much flavor of other things. So I'm just going to keep it pretty light on the other seasonings. So now I'm going to go ahead and add in my butter, just to kind of moisten up my noodles a little bit. And if I need to add more butter, I will do that along the way. That is some melted salted butter that I just added in. So I'm just gonna kind of moisten my noodles around a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead now and just start adding in some cheese. So I have cheddar jack. I also have the mild cheddar. And I also have some double cheddar. So I like to do a little bit of everything when it comes to cheese. I think a little bit of variety of cheese. And it's also preference to whatever cheese is kind of flavor is your favorite or choice. But I like to kind of mix it up a little bit, which gives it a little bit of not only a cheddar taste, but also kind of a smoky taste as well, with adding in some of the different cheeses. Now, I'm also going to go ahead now and add in 2 eggs here. I'm going to add in 2 eggs into that. And I'm just going to mix everything kind of together. And actually, a lot of times I hold off on putting the eggs because sometimes I do want to taste it again. So I actually probably should have did that this time, but I went ahead and put the eggs in and got those mixed in first. I'm definitely going to put some more cheese. What you do is just kind of start out with a little cheese. You don't want to overdo your cheese initially when you kind of take your first kind of layer of cheese and add into your mac and cheese is what I do. So now I'm going to add in a little bit more cheese because that is definitely not cheesy enough. And I'm probably just going to go ahead and get rid of all of the cheddar here because we do want that mac and cheese to be very cheesy. And I'm just flinging stuff a little bit here, but I'm going to use my spoon just to go ahead and get that cheese out of the bag. And I'm already sensing that I can't wait to eat this mac and cheese with some turkey and gravy and some ham. So just gonna mix this up. And I'm gonna go ahead also, my pasta has gotten a little cold again still. I usually, like I said, I like to catch it immediately, and I'm flinging cheese everywhere. But I usually like to go ahead and get everything mixed up right away when it comes out of, when it's done cooking. Another thing is just making sure, because you do have to stir in your cheese and everything, is making sure that you don't overcook your pasta initially. Because keep in mind that it does have to go in the oven to cook. And then also you have to mix everything. So you don't want to have your pasta overcooked and it becomes mushy. Now I'm going to add in some heavy cream just to kind of get my process kind of underway. Because I'm going to need this cheese to kind of start to kind of melt in a little bit and kind of come together. So I'm going to go ahead and mix that in. Got the heavy cream. And again, I will make sure all of this is mixed very well. And then I'm going to add some more cheese. Now, it may look like a lot of cheese for some people, but we're talking mac and cheese here. We want the mac and cheese to taste like mac and cheese. And so I'm going to add the cheese until I feel satisfied that it is going to be just enough cheese or just the right amount of cheese to really taste like the mac and cheese that it's supposed to taste like. All right. So I'm just mixing that in. I do think I'm going to maybe add in a little bit more salt. And I'm going to add in some pepper as well. I'll go ahead and add this cheese. Now see, these bags of cheese are really small. So, I mean, it's easy to use 3 bags of cheese. They're only 8 ounces in size each when you're making kind of a nice amount of mac and cheese. So it's easy to use a bag really quickly. And what I also like to add into my mac and cheese is a little bit of sour cream. And as you're adding more ingredients here, again, that's why I mentioned about adding in some more seasoning, specifically a bit of salt and more salt, because as you add in the heavy cream, as you add in the sour cream, and even more cheese, it kind of just takes on more ingredients. And then of course you need a little bit more, it kind of expands the dish, I guess I should say. And so it makes you definitely need more salt and a little bit more seasoning at that point. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a little bit more salt here. And I'm going to go ahead and also now add in my pepper. And I'm going to add in maybe 1 more egg just to make sure, because I have 2 in here. But I usually, depending on how much pasta I have, decide whether I'm going to add in more heavy cream and whether I'm going to add in more eggs once I get everything kind of mixed up. So I'm going to hop off and get some more heavy cream set up and get another egg, and I will be right back in just a moment. Also, I'm back. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in that one other egg that I wanted to add, just to make sure I have everything bound together, or binded together. The cheese, my sour cream, and all of the other ingredients I've added thus far. So that's just gonna make sure my mac and cheese has a little bit of moisture there and it's able to cook nicely once it goes into the oven. So I'm just gonna mix that. And then I've also, as you can see here, I have added some melted and salted butter to my other dish here. I'm gonna go ahead and add that into, or add my mac and cheese into that dish. Now that I have everything mixed well, I'm gonna add in just a little bit more salt and a little bit more pepper before I put it in my dish to cook. And again, as I said, in my cornbread video, I don't measure anything, so I just do it visually by sight, and also just kind of tasting, just to make sure my everything is seasoned well. And that's how I've always cooked for the most part. Now, as I said before, baking is a little bit different because you do have to be a bit more concise with baking measurements. And as I said before, I know typically I will not eat or taste product that has eggs that are raw in it, but I'm just gonna taste just a little bit. And even in doing that, it just made me think about my great-grandfather when he was living. I remember when he used to take an egg and crack it open, and he would eat a whole egg, and I thought it was the most gross thing as a kid, and so it didn't kill him. So I definitely will say this should be just fine for me to just taste just a little bit. I'm not gonna eat the whole dish, obviously, with eggs being in it and uncooked, but I'm gonna just taste it just a little bit. Actually, let me get a spoon. You know it's gotta cook. Let me just grab a little fork here. And I'm just gonna taste it. Just to make sure. Yeah. Has just enough salt, not too much salt. Just enough seasoning. Very nice flavor. So good on that. So I don't have to worry about my mac and cheese coming out and not tasting like mac and cheese or something to that effect. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour that up now into my baking dish. And as you can see here, I have my butter, my melted butter in the bottom of the baking dish. I like to do that. You don't have to do that, but that's something that I particularly like to do when I make mac and cheese. And so the dish is gonna be pretty full, but when everything bakes, it's gonna be just perfect. So I got it into my dish here. I'm gonna add the other little bit, and then I'm gonna put some cheese on top of it. Got a little bit more in there. I'm going to add all of that into my baking dish. All right. Got everything in my baking dish now. All right, and I'm going to, as I said, get ready and put my cheese on top. Now, I don't know about you guys. I'm sure you guys are prepping and getting ready to cook and for Thanksgiving, or prepping for Thanksgiving and getting ready to have guests over as well, family, friends, or what have you. But I don't know, what do you guys think? I really think it's challenging keeping everything organized in the kitchen kind of in check during this time. I know I grew up with the same kind of general rule of thumb is to clean as you go. We all know that, but at some point in time, sometimes you're so busy and doing so much and you're exhausted trying to make all these different dishes at one time. Sometimes it becomes a little bit challenging to really stay on top of cleaning as you go in the kitchen. So I just wanted to kind of see what you guys think. Like, I know I'm all about the clean as you go type of mindset, but it doesn't always work out. And I know it's not just me, that, you know, I'm sure you feel like that as well sometimes when you're cooking, and especially for the holidays. It's like, it's a challenge trying to keep everything clean. But what I have started doing, I remember earlier when I was younger and cooking for the holidays, and my husband and I probably, I mean, this was probably 4 or 5 years into us doing Thanksgiving and being married and holidays and things like that. The kitchen would be an absolute mess no matter what I did. It was just like, it was just a lot going on. And so now I try to get some main pots and pans that I dirty or use and dirty them up. And then I try to wash them back again, wash them back out and use them to make something else. Clean them well and use as much as I can of what I already have dirty in my kitchen sink, I guess is what I'm saying. So that's kind of my strategy for that. And it's working a little bit better for me. But then again, it's the holidays. It's challenging to keep your kitchen clean. It's kind of like you just have to get it messy and then just give it a nice, good clean when everything is all made and all cooked and before everyone comes for dinner. So that's just kind of my thought on that. But I just wanted to share that because I'm sure you guys are out there and already going into this Thanksgiving holiday a little bit exhausted, a little bit of lifing. I'm sure life's for everybody. But I just wanted to kind of just add that little nugget in there. But now what I'm going to go ahead and do, I have my mac and cheese ready. Actually, I was almost ready to pop this into the oven. I think that's just kind of second nature for me. But actually what I'm going to do, family, I am going to, now that I have my cheese here on top and it's ready to bake, I'm going to go ahead and cover this with some wax paper and some aluminum foil. That way when I get ready and bake it, it doesn't stick to my aluminum foil as much. Because I do kind of like to cover it a little bit so that my cheese kind of remains a little creamy and runny. And then maybe about 10 or 15 minutes before it's done, I will take all of the coverings off of the mac and cheese. But I think my main point that I want to say is I'm not going to be I'm not going to be cooking this today. So I'm going to go ahead and cover it up. Actually, I'm planning to cook my mac and cheese either tomorrow, which is Wednesday evening, and my dressing, or I'm gonna cook the mac and cheese and dressing the morning of Thanksgiving. I haven't decided that far in advance yet what's gonna work the best, but main thing today is that I want to make sure I have my mac and cheese done, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and get to working on my dressing as well. So you'll probably either see that in the next segment or in the next video. It may just very well be the next video before I get that up and running. So whenever it is, definitely know that I will be sure to share it with you. And so definitely stay tuned and tell me what you are going to be cooking for the holidays in the comments, because I would love, love, love to hear all about it. So I will be back and I will be sharing my next recipe or next cooking experiment with you very soon. So definitely stay tuned and see you soon. All right, y'all, look at these hams. They are absolutely beautiful. I have rinsed them off and I have them face down in an aluminum pan with the aluminum foil ready to cover them as I put them in the oven to cook. So these hams, one is I think about 10 or 11 pounds. This is the bigger one that I'll be taking to my aunt's tomorrow. And then the other one I think is about 8 pounds, 8 pounds and some change or so. And then this one will be staying back here. So Now I'm about to cover these tightly with aluminum foil. I also have some wax paper in there just to kind of not have the ham right directly next to the aluminum foil. That's just the thing that that comes to mind for me with the aluminum. And then so I'm gonna cover those tight and let those cook for the next 2.5 hours to 3 hours on a very low temperature of about 250. So I will show y'all what these look like once they're in the oven, or once I take them out, and then kind of move to the next step. I don't like the hams too sweet, but I will be doing a little bit of a glazing to the top of them just to add a little slight sweetness. But I like to still be able to taste the saltiness, or the saltiness of the ham essentially. And so I'll add a little something to the crust to kind of make it a little bit more beautiful, and just to add a little bit of a sweet texture to the crust that's on the ham or the skin. So, but I will definitely be back and show you kind of what this looks like as it finish or gets nearer to being finished cooking. But right now these are about to go into the oven, and I'll check back in soon.